It's Thursday, the 17th of August, 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and with Sean Aylmer away this week, I'm joined instead by Jennifer Duke. Jen, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get straight into it. Story number 1's a big one. The nation's federal, state and territory leaders have agreed to major measures to improve the supply of housing across the country.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese spoke with the state and territory leaders in Brisbane at a national cabinet meeting to discuss the issue of housing affordability. And they've come up with, in his words, a national planning reform blueprint that focuses on planning, zoning and land release to improve supply.
All right, let's go through the detail. What's in the blueprint?
So they've agreed on a target for 1.2 million new homes over 5 years. That's an extra 200,000 on last year's National Housing Accord. And that kicks in from July 2024. The federal government's going to give $3 billion to those states that reach their share of the target under a new home bonus scheme. And there's an extra $500 million spend on a housing support program for local and state governments to get developments off the ground. That's to help fund essential services, amenities, or building planning capability. There's also some support for renters with an agreement to harmonise and strengthen rights for tenants across the country. They're going to require a consistent national policy for genuine grounds for evictions, limiting rent increases to once a year and phasing in minimum rental standards.
Yeah, it's a big story, big policy, and let's see what effect it does have. On to story number 2 now, Jen, and I'll be very interested to see later this morning whether the Matildas succeeded in setting another TV ratings record last night. Either way, it's probably no surprise that FIFA is apparently looking at around $100 million for the next Football World Cup broadcast rights following the national obsession with the Matildas.
FIFA is clearly feeling confident and is meeting with television networks this week to talk about the rights to the Men's World Cup in 2026 and the Women's in 2027. That's according to The Australian. They're reporting that Football Australia is also trying to get in on the action and could bid for World Cup rights to bundle in with Socceroos and Matildas games. Given the huge success of the Matildas for Seven, which sub-licensed the rights from Optus, all major free-to-air networks are likely to lob in a bid. That's alongside SBS and probably Optus as well.
All right, on to story number 3. Australian software giant Atlassian wants the government to force companies to tell people when they're speaking to artificial intelligence rather than another human. That's for technology like chatbots, which are increasingly common, but also increasingly human-like.
They are becoming increasingly human-like, which makes sense why Atlassian wants people to be told when they're actually talking to one of them. They also want the public to be told when AI is driving decisions that particularly affect them. And this is part of the company's proposal for a traffic light system of regulation for AI. That's according to the Financial Review.
All right, traffic light system. How does that work?
So if an AI activity threatens actual, present or imminent harm, then it would get a red light rating under this system and the government would have to intervene. Interestingly, Atlassian said that this would mean some uses of AI that are already common, like using the tech to determine if someone's eligible for insurance, would already trigger a red light rating. Amber would be for situations where more thought is needed on if existing legislation already manages the harms or if it's a really distant threat, while using AI in areas well covered by laws and where a light touch is needed would be a green light situation.
Story number 4 is probably a little bit humorous, actually. Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has had to cancel a trip to Australia after her plane broke down, of all things. She was scheduled for a meeting with Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong. Then she was supposed to go to watch the Matildas and then speak at the Lowy Institute.
All of that has now been cancelled, unfortunately, because of her ageing government plane having technical difficulties. Baerbock is from Germany's Greens Party, and this was her first trip to Australia in over a decade. She's currently grounded in Abu Dhabi with her team. She's described the issue via a tweet as more than annoying. And Australia isn't the only country getting locked off her itinerary, with her plane problems also stopping her from getting to Fiji and New Zealand.
That is actually quite uncomfortable. A little bit awkward.
It is a bit awkward. Germany's planes seem to be having repeat issues. In 2018, the exact same Airbus plane caused then-Chancellor Angela Merkel to miss the opening of a G20 summit in Argentina, and rodents ate the cables on former Finance Minister Olaf Scholz's plane in that same year, leaving him stuck in Indonesia.
They do not have much luck with planes, the Germans, it seems. All right, last one. Story number 5. What do you make of this one? The best IPO on any US exchange in 2023 so far is Saks Parente Golf on the NASDAQ. It's a company that makes golf equipment, including $400 putters if you're in the market for one, Jen.
Well, its shares went nuts on the first day of trading, up 624%. Its 3.2 million shares were initially priced at $4 and they closed out at $29, and it was halted 19 times due to volatility. Bloomberg reports the company made $190,000 of sales in 2022 and hasn't turned a profit yet. And in the first 3 months of this year, the company made $90,000 in sales and lost about 10 times that. I couldn't help but look them up, and they have a Drac mallet that made it onto a Forbes list of the top putters for 2023. They can't be all bad.
No, didn't even know there was a list of top 10 putters. That is great. Thank you for sharing. There we go, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 17th of August, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed Business News wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.